You are 41 years old. You are surrounded by people. You have a wife folding laundry in the next room. You have 2 children arguing in the basement. Your phone buzzes every 30 seconds with group chats about soccer games and work deadlines. On paper, you are the furthest thing from lonely. You are essential. You are the hub of a wheel that never stops turning. But it is 10:45 p.m. on a Wednesday. You are standing in front of the open refrigerator. The hum of the cooling fan is the only thing you hear. You are looking for something to eat, but you aren't hungry. You are looking for a feeling. You realize you haven't had a conversation that wasn't a to-do list in 3 weeks. You talk about mortgage rates. You talk about the broken disposal. You realize you have become a logistics manager for a family that barely sees you.
You walk to the living room. Your wife asks if you paid the water bill. You say yes. She looks back down. That is the exchange. It is efficient and devastating. You are the provider, and the provider is an office, not a person. You feel a sharp nostalgia for your 25-year-old self. You remember sitting in a dive bar, arguing about a movie for 4 hours. You remember being known for who you were, not what you could do. Research on social attrition shows men's social circles contract by 50% between 30 and 45. You traded your friends for your foundation, but as you sit on the sofa, you realize the foundation is lonely. Everyone relies on you, but no one asks the beam how it's holding up. You realize level 1 isn't about being alone. It's about being unseen in a room full of people who love you.
You are 43. You have achieved the title you wanted. Your LinkedIn profile is a polished monument to your seniority. You have 15 people reporting to you. Your calendar is a mosaic of back-to-back meetings. You spend 8 hours a day talking. You are the most connected person in the building. Yet, as you walk to your car at 6 p.m., you feel a hollow ringing in your ears. It is the sound of a man who is surrounded by people, but has no peers. You realize that at 43, your professional relationships have become transactional. You aren't Dave anymore. You are the boss or the client. People don't talk to you. They pitch to you. They don't share their lives. They manage your expectations. You sit in the break room and the laughter dies down just a fraction when you enter. It isn't because they dislike you. It is because you represent the system. You have reached the level where your authority has become a wall.
Sociologists call this command isolation. It is the biological reality that as you climb the hierarchy, your opportunities for authentic connection vanish. You have no one at work to tell that you're worried about your health or that your marriage feels like a cold war. You have to maintain the executive presence. You are a performer on a stage that never has an intermission. You find yourself staying late just to avoid the transition from the boss to the provider. You drive home. You see a group of younger coworkers heading to a bar across the street. You feel a physical pull toward them. You want to join. You want to be one of the guys again. But you know you can't. The barrier is too thick. You realize that you have traded companionship for power. You are a king on a very small, very quiet island. That realization lives in your chest now. It doesn't leave.
You are 44. The statistics caught up. It wasn't a blowout fight. It was a decade of silence that finally broke. You are sitting in a new apartment that smells of fresh paint and cardboard. It is 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. For 15 years, this time meant the sound of the garage door and the chaos of dinner. Now, it is just the sound of a clock on a wall you didn't choose. You realize your social life was just a shared routine. Your friends were actually just the parents of your children's friends. When the routine broke, the people vanished. You are the single friend at a table of couples now. You see them exchange glances when you speak. You are a reminder of what they fear. You go to the grocery store and buy a single steak. You watch a father struggle with a toddler in the checkout line. You would have given anything to escape that stress 2 years ago. Now, you'd give anything to be him. The rooms are too big. The bed is too wide. You eat standing up at the kitchen counter because sitting at the table feels like an admission of defeat. You realize the routine wasn't just a schedule. It was a shield. Without it,
You are exposed.
You are 45. You are more connected than any generation in human history. You have 3,000 followers. You have a dozen active group chats. You have streaks and likes and mentions. It is 11:30 p.m. You are lying in bed, the blue light of your phone illuminating your face. You have been scrolling for 2 hours. You are looking at the vacation photos of a guy you haven't spoken to since 2008. You know what he had for breakfast. You don't know the name of your next-door neighbor. You realize that social media is a synthetic connection. It provides the hit of dopamine without the weight of intimacy. You are consuming the best of reels of other men's lives, while your own behind the scenes is falling apart. Research on the comparison trap shows that after 40, digital consumption increases feelings of isolation by 30%. You aren't just lonely. You are convinced that you are the only one who is lonely. You see photos of guys' trips and birthday dinners. You don't see the silent drives home.
You post a photo of your gym progress or a sunset. You wait for the red notification bubble. It arrives. You feel a 3-second burst of relevance. Then it vanishes. You are a digital ghost haunting your own life. You realize that you have substituted presence for performance. You are performing the role of a man who is doing great. You are curated. You are filtered. And you are completely alone in the dark. You put the phone on the nightstand. The room goes black. The silence is louder because of the noise you just left. You realize that engagement is not the same as belonging. You have 1,000 digital witnesses and 0 actual friends. You realize that if you didn't post tomorrow, the world would keep scrolling without noticing your absence. That thought is cold.
You are 46. You are sitting in a waiting room with beige walls and old magazines. You have a small, persistent pain in your side, or a blood pressure reading that made the nurse pause. For the first time in your life, the biological clock isn't just a metaphor. It is a physical sensation. You are waiting for the doctor to return with the results. You look at the chair next to you. It is empty. You realize that your loneliness has transitioned from a social problem to a survival problem. You realize that your health is the ultimate single-player game. Your wife can sympathize. Your kids can worry. But no one can go into the MRI machine for you. You are facing the frailty of your own body, and you realize you have no brotherhood to lean on. You haven't built a circle of men who can talk about death, or fear, or the sound of a heart skipping a beat. You have drinking buddies and work friends, but you don't have a phone call at 3 a.m. friend.
Medical research shows that for men over 45, social isolation is as physically damaging as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it is a comorbidity. It slows your recovery, it weakens your immune system. You realize that by neglecting your friendships, you have neglected your long-term survival. You are a high-performance machine that has forgotten to maintain its support structure. The doctor walks back in. He uses words like precautionary and follow-up. You nod, maintaining your executive presence. You walk out to the parking lot. You sit in your car and grip the steering wheel. You want to call someone. You want to say, "I'm scared." You scroll through your phone and realize you don't have a contact for that specific emotion. You start the engine. You drive back to work. You realize that the most dangerous part of being a man at 46 isn't the heart, it's the silence.
You are 48. The last child has moved out. You spent 20 years complaining about the noise, the shoes in the hallway, and the constant demand for your attention. You dreamt of the day the house would finally be quiet. Now, that day has arrived, and the silence is deafening. It is 7 p.m. on a Friday. The house is pristine. There are no dishes in the sink. There is no music thumping from the upstairs bedroom. You realize that your children weren't just your responsibility. They were your primary social connection. You realize that for 2 decades, you outsourced your social life to your kids. Your friends were actually just the fathers of their teammates. Now that the season is over,
The texts have stopped. You see those men at the hardware store, and you realize you have nothing to say to them. Without the kids as a bridge, you are strangers again. You are facing your wife across the dinner table, and for the first time in 20 years, there is nothing to talk about regarding the children. You have to look at her. You have to look at yourself.
Research on post-parental loneliness shows that men often suffer more than women because they lack extracurricular intimacy. Women often maintain deep emotional networks outside the home. Men tend to consolidate everything into the family unit. When that unit disperses, you are left in a structural vacuum. You wander into your son's empty room. You sit on the edge of the bed. You realize you have spent your life building a home for people who were always intended to leave it. You feel a strange, hollow sense of obsolescence. You have been the hero and the provider for so long that you don't know how to just be a man. You are a general without an army. You look at your calendar for the weekend. It is blank. No games, no carpools, no graduation parties. Just 48 hours of you. The phone rings at 2 a.m. You know that ring. Your father is gone, or your mother is failing. You are now the old guard. You are the ceiling of the family. There is no one above you to ask for advice. No one left to tell you it's going to be okay. Your loneliness has become ancestral. You are the keeper of stories that no one else remembers. You spend your weekends cleaning out a house that isn't yours. You find photos of your parents at 30, laughing in a backyard full of people. They had something you missed. A neighborhood. A community that wasn't mediated by an app. You were living in a more efficient world, but a colder one. You have devices that can tell you the weather in Tokyo, but can't tell you why you feel like you're disappearing. You are next in line. You look at your own children and see them making the same trade-offs you made. You want to warn them. You want to tell them to hold on to their friends like their lives depend on it, but they have to learn it the way you did, through the slow accumulation of silence. You realize the world you were built for has already ended.
You are 50. You have survived the informed half. You have felt the invisibility of level 1 and the isolation of level 6. It is a Tuesday evening. You are sitting on your porch. You are not scrolling. You are not waiting for a to-do list. You are just there. You realize that for 10 years, you have been running away from loneliness as if it were a predator. You treated it like a debt to be paid or a symptom to be cured. But as you watch the sun go down, something shifts. You realize that loneliness was just the name you gave to solitude before you were ready for it. The silence doesn't feel like a weight anymore. It feels like a space. You have stopped looking for witnesses to your life. You have realized that the most important conversation you will ever have is the one happening inside your own head.
You think about the man at 41, standing in the light of the refrigerator. You wish you could tell him that the fade was necessary. You had to lose the crowd to find the person. You had to stop being the provider, to start being the man. You realize that true sovereignty is the ability to be alone without being lonely. It is the point where you no longer need the world to tell you who you are. You look at your phone on the table. It is silent. You don't pick it up. You don't need the red bubble. You don't need the synergy. You realize that the hunger you felt for 10 years wasn't for more people. It was for more you. You were 50 years old. You were standing on the edge of the second half. And for the first time in a decade, you weren't afraid of the quiet.